Now, this session is about to change the way you look at everything that you do yourself. Okay? It's called the secrets of coaching yourself. Instead of thinking, oh, who can I find to coach me? What if I shared with you a way that you learn to coach yourself? Okay? It's very, very simple. It's not complicated, but it's not easy to implement on yourself. Okay? Let's say I'm actually going to take one person and play with that person, okay? Because it's a bit more easier that way. Harry, shall we go with you? Because I can see you. Yeah. Okay. So give me 3 goals. Remember, I said to you, write 10 goals, erase 7, just work on the 3. Do you remember that? Yeah. Give me 3 top goals, please. Be
this
as
year.
specific. Yeah. This year, next year, doesn't really matter. Just give me 3 goals. Be as specific as you can. Start with 1. Let's start with 1.
20 main goals, 25 rent-to-rent units by the end of the year.
By the end of the year. Okay, let's start with this. Okay. Now that's your professional goal. I can't have a second goal as a professional goal. It has to be personal, okay? So professional goal, 25 units a year. You now use the GROW model on yourself. You ask yourself questions like, what is my goal? What is the reality? So where are you now? I think you've got 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we've got two looking to take on 4 this month.
2 taken and 4 this month, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But they're not closed yet.
Okay. Well, 1 basically is, but the other 2 we just got a view, but they're nearly done.
Yeah, okay. But for as long as you haven't closed them, that's not a deal done. Okay, deal done when they're closed. Okay. So 25 split by the 10 months that we're left with is 2.5 a month or whatever that, or 2 a month, I would say, something like that, because you've already got a few. So 2 a month, and that's 1 in 15 days. Okay. And then you break it down to what is it that you need to do in the next 15 days to be able to achieve 1. I think you're already working on that, right?
Yeah.
So now you know the reality. So you know the goal, you know the reality. You look at the options. I think you've been through the clarity stage of options because you were looking at different strategies. Now you're focused on one. Stick to it till it's profitable. Okay. Yeah. Do not look at anything else. Okay. It's good to say, oh, I want to work on that deal, but later on when you've kind of made this profitable. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you say the will that you have, which is the grow, the W of the will, right? So we know that. I think most of us can see that you have the will, which means you have the drive to be able to pick up the phone and make those 100 calls a day or more required to be able to achieve that goal. Simple. Using the GROW model, not just on others, while you are in that persuasive communication, but you are persuading yourself as well. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. Yeah. So it's not just about using GROW model on others. It's about using this on yourself first before you start to persuade others. Because if you can persuade yourself, you don't have to persuade others. It's a lot more easier. It's enthusiasm, right? That's transferred when you're speaking with people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So using the GROW model on any of your goals that you might have. Give me a second one. It can't be professional.
It's got to be personal. I mean, get into uni. Get into the uni course I want.
Get into the?
Get on the uni course I want. University course I want.
University course that you want. Okay. If you were to put in the number of hours you need to put effort into it, how many would that be to get in?
I don't want to think about it, mate.
All right, okay.
About
Is it a bit
25,
scary?
25 a week.
25 a week, okay.
Yeah.
2 hours a day. How much TV do you watch?
About 2 hours a day.
I'm not saying leave all your TV because you'll get stressed, okay,
yeah.
otherwise, okay? Half an hour is okay. Or how much time do you spend on social media?
Oh, about 3 hours a day.
Cut that down to half.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. You can't win on all sides. Yeah, you can't win on all sides. Okay. What else do you do that is not productive?
Sleep.
What else? That's productive. Just so you know.
I mean, quite a lot of time. I do spend time planning what I'm going to do when I should actually be doing it. Do you get me? So I spend time thinking, right, this is what I need to
Do
do,
you
and
put it in
writing it all down.
Do you put it in diary? How do you schedule stuff?
I do. I put it in diary. I put it on a task list for priority, but then I spend probably an hour every day looking at that and thinking, right, I'm going to do this next, this, instead of just doing it. So I kind of double
Why
plan
is that?
myself.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
I
that's
just
okay.
wake up. I wake up every morning and I think, right, I need to replan. I need to replan what I'm going to do, and that wastes
You don't
a
need
lot
to.
of time.
No. You don't need to. You don't need to replan. All you
Yeah,
got to do is an hour a day for this, an hour a day for this, an hour and a half for this, an hour and a half for this, and you don't overthink it. Okay, everyone does. Even sometimes I would do it, but don't overthink it.
so when you're timetabling stuff in though, one thing I hate is when you go over on a task,
Yeah,
and then I don't know whether to finish that or go to the next one and come back to
depends
that
on
a different day.
how much priority that task has.
Okay.
Okay, so if it's real priority, I would finish it, is irrespective of how much time it's going to take. But if it's not that priority, I would leave it and move on to my next task, which is more
Okay.
priority. Yeah, so that's what I do. Again, don't overthink it. I think most of us do, but it's just when you go over that time limit and say, well, it's a bit too much now. I'm sitting there just thinking about it. This is not doing it. That's
Yeah.
not really productive. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that gives you clarity.
Yeah. That's what I do a lot. To be fair, just
Okay.
thinking about doing it.
So does that give you clarity on your second goal?
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah. Yeah.
You are practically using the grow model on yourself. And I'm going to share one more aspect connected to that. It makes a big difference. Give me one more goal. Health, well-being.
Health.
You need to focus, man. You need to
Get back to
focus.
the gym. Get back to the
Yeah,
gym.
yeah. If you're not doing that, I would recommend you do it. You
Yeah.
don't want to look back 5 years later burnt out. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So walk, brisk walk, treadmill, whatever that might be, gym, whatever you want to do. I need you to focus at least half an hour minimum a day.
Half an hour exercise a day, is it?
At least half an hour. If you can do more, that's great. If you can't, that's at least half an hour a day. Okay. So make that as your priority if you haven't done so far.
Yeah.
Okay. But why am I sharing this with you? Another practice that I did back in the days, and that kind of helped me massively as well. I would sit down and write the 3 goals, and I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10 where I am with that goal. Okay. And then a month later, I would go back to it and say, where am I now in a month's time? Does that make sense? Yeah. So let's say you, on your professional goal, you put it on a scale of 1 to 10, and you put yourself at, let's say, 5. You go back a month later. I want you to think and say, where am I now? It could be 5.5, it could be 6. But what it does is it just starts to make you more productive. Does that make sense? More productive, more efficient, more effective.
Do you keep that on like a on visually everywhere so you can see it all the time, or
not anymore, Harry? I did that back in the days. Okay. But now when I do something, I'm quite effective. I'm normally, if I'm over 7 on a scale of 10, I'm happy. Not necessarily happiest, but I'm happy. Okay.
So 10's when you achieve it, right?
When you really achieve the whole damn thing. Okay. And because I keep very, very high targets, I almost never get to 10.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's your stretching your comfort zone, right? But if you put yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 and say, is the 3 or a 4 today, and a month later you'll go back and rate it again, and now you're at 4.5 or 5, and then you keep doing that over a period of 2 or 3 years, what it's going to do is it just becomes a habitual practice of reflecting back rather than actually putting it on paper. Initially you put it on paper, but over a period of time it just becomes a reflective practice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would normally reflect back and I'd say, on this aspect of the business, where am I at? Am I a 5? Am I a 6? Am I a 7, 8? And if I'm not a 7, I want to make sure that I spend a bit more time either improving something or something that I don't know, learning that. Yeah. So I could improve it. Because remember, if you are not learning something new, you may get stuck at a 5 and not get to 6. Sometimes you need to learn some new stuff. Okay. But other times you just need to focus and give it a bit more time, because you already know what you need to improve, but you haven't put the time in. Okay.
Yeah.
But again, it's just going back to the grow model on all your 3. Remember, write down 10 goals. Don't forget this. This is very important. Write down 10 goals, erase 7, work on just top 3. If you work on the 4th one, you're diluting your focus. And those 3 cannot be just professional goals. They have to be professional. They have to be personal. Well, I put it this way: personal, a professional, and sort of a health. So you have family, health, and money. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Professional, money, health is your personal, and then you have your family, which is more personal. Yeah? I would normally keep these 3 goals. The rest is just everything at the bottom. If I get time, I'll do it. If I don't get time, it doesn't quite bother me anymore. Okay? But then applying the grow model first to yourself. And why do you think it comes naturally? I've been fortunate enough, it comes very naturally to me, is because I've applied that to myself first. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot more easier when you apply the same thing to yourself and then you're sharing that with people. They can look at it and say, well, this feels natural, right? It's almost like you've done this with yourself and now you're sharing it with others. Okay. And then it helps you keep getting more productive, keep getting more efficient, more effective, and then you keep learning new things at the same time. Anyone has any questions? Raise your hand if you're going to go and make a list of the top 10 goals, erase 7, work on 3. You're going to make a list of all the 3 on a scale of 1 to 10, rate yourself, and then go back a month later and then rate it again. And you're going to come back and learn something new to improve it. Or for that matter, if not, you'd apply what you've already learned so you could start to improve that. Raise your hand. I've only had 1 hand. That's not good. Okay, I can see a few hands. Good stuff. Does this process help you become your own coach? Yes? You literally look at it and say, I want to achieve, let's say, for example, I can see Arvind here. Arvind, let's say your aim is to get to 50 rooms, let's say in 2 years' time. Yeah? Let's say you want to get to 50 rooms. I don't know. Either it is 6-bedroom, 10 HMOs, or it is a larger hotel, whatever that might be, right? Yeah. And you then split it down and say, I need to get about 1 deal in 6 months or 1 deal in 3 months, and how many calls it's going to take or how many agents it's going to take to so the goal is there. Now the reality of where I am and what kind of effort it's going to take. And then you rate yourself on that effort on a scale of 1 to 10 and say, how good was I today? And have I improved in a month's time? Have I gone from a 5 to a 6 to a 7 and an 8, at least hitting a minimum bare 7 on any given thing? Because if you're not a 7, you're not really good. You need to at least hit a 7. And if you can hit a 10, please do let me know. I've never hit a 10. Okay. On pretty much anything. I think I would say I maybe hit a 10 the other day by running half a marathon. Okay. And that's a maybe. Okay. But I've never hit a 10 because I just have very lofty goals, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. But it's literally like G for goals, R for reality, O for opportunities, and then W for your will, which means how driven are you? Are you lacking motivation? W also stands for lack of motivation, guys. If you're lacking motivation, you gotta literally wake up, go to YouTube and say, motivational video. And all you need is sometimes 5 minutes. Okay, remember, we need motivation pretty much every day. If you haven't learned to motivate yourself, which I've been fortunate I have, I literally wake up and I'd write something to motivate myself. Like I wrote yesterday, act now like the person who you aspire to be. It's like I'm motivating myself first. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm motivating myself first, and then it helps motivate others as well. But if you haven't learned to motivate yourself, you need to sit down and literally the first thing in the morning, before you even brush, watch a motivational video for 5 minutes. No more than 5 minutes, 5 odd minutes. That's all you need. It's like Zig Ziglar used to say, very old saying, motivation is like a bath. You got to have it every day. Okay. So if you lack motivation, Literally wake up, learn to motivate yourself. If you can do so, if not, watch something motivational for 5 minutes. Okay? Raise your hand if that has been helpful, and then it helps you become your own awesome coach. Yeah? Irrespective of where you are heading, either it is becoming a consultant, which I've become, or building your portfolio, creating buying a hotel, or creating that awesome app, or whatever that may be, right? You got to learn how to coach yourself, got to learn how to motivate yourself. You got to have a reflection point every day. So what I tend to do is literally every day, I would take out about 5 or 10 minutes to reflect back on the day and say, how did it go? The course that I went to, the training that I did, or whatever I did, I would very quickly reflect back on the day for 5 or 10 minutes, sometimes longer. I'd sometimes reflect back for an hour, especially if it is a major task that I've been working on, to make sure that I understand that what I did was right, and that and if there is anything that I can improve. Okay, very, very important to spend reflective time. If you are not doing it, that will literally change your life forever. Every day. And this cannot be done once a week. This is every day. Motivation is every day. Okay, looking at your performance, you can do it once a month. Yeah, raise your hand if you know what I mean, and if you have any questions, please do ask any questions if you might have. Harry, any questions, buddy? I think you're doing well anyway.
I'm going to try that watching videos in the morning.
Okay.
Because I think that's going to be great.
Kalpana, any questions? I could see you.
Hello. No questions. You said you were going to record your routine, how you plan your day, and how you plan your goals for a month. Are you still planning to do that?
I will do that sometime in a month or two. Please do remind me. I will do it, and I'll share it with everyone. I think I've shared with a few who've kind of shadowed me, and they can see my diary and my digital diary and stuff. But I'm happy to share it at some point. Do remind me in about a month's time, Kalpana, in a couple of weeks' time, please.
Okay.
I will do that, yes.
Okay.
I'll go through the list and ask questions. Seti bro, any questions?
Yeah, I think, end of the day, as we're speaking, I'm not sure if you guys can see it. I'm going to flip the camera. But basically, I do this thing every week, and this is what I'm doing, how I'm listening to you. I'm basically sorting out my kind of diaries and whatever not. I find it very powerful to disrupt your week a little bit as well. So this is my planning of the week. And then when I have one day, like a Saturday when I'm here or at home or whatever, I go through all the tasks of the week. Like you forget certain things. So it's a good way of double checking your entry, like a bookkeeper, to make sure you did do that email, you did do the follow-up. Plus, I also think disrupt the week a bit. If you do certain things in certain ways, swap it around in regards to what you're doing. Just makes it a little bit different, and it keeps it a little bit more fresh kind of thing.
That's right, yeah. You have to disrupt this pattern every now and then to keep it fresh, to keep it going.
Yeah.
At the same time, the aim here is that you learn how to coach yourself.
Yep.
Yep. I know that you sometimes do need help. Remember, the GROW model stands on asking awesome questions to yourself. It's like, where do I want to be in 5, 10, 15 years time?
Yep.
What does my life look like in 10 years time? What does my health look like in 10 years time? What does my family life look like in 10 years time? How much time do I want to spend with my family? How much time do I want to spend in my personal development? How much time do I want to invest into my health? How much time? It's almost like you're planning your life accordingly and your business accordingly. How many people do I know who really go hard at their business, and when they look back 5 years later, they've messed up their health and their personal life? It's unbelievable how many people I know. It's because they haven't learned to coach themselves. The last thing you want to do is create an awesome business. 10 years later, you're burnt out and you have no family life. That's the last thing you want. Okay. Learn to coach yourself at 3 aspects. If you want to add on more, be my guest at some later stage. But initially, it is first your health, second is your family life, and the third is your professional life. Okay. And for me, that is the chronological order that I follow. First is my health, second is my family, and the third is my professional goals. Okay. And then everything else is below that. So if I want to maybe learn something new, or, you know, martial arts or whatever that might be, that is always below this that I will pursue. Okay. But again, you can look at your life and say, what works for me? It might be slightly different in your context. Okay. But this is what works for me. Okay. So now we have Erwin in the list. Erwin, any questions, buddy?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Just taking some notes.
Harry, any questions, buddy?
Yeah. How do you balance actually working on your business with the personal development that you need to take your business to the next level?
Are you rephrase this question in other words, please?
Right. So what I struggle with is making the switch to go, right, now instead of doing work or working on the business, I want to read this book.
Oh, okay. Okay, I hear you.
Or do this course or stuff like that. Do you get me?
Okay, I hear you. I would say, and this is actually going against me sometimes, okay? Limit your personal development as well. And I'll tell you why. Yes, you do need, you know, it's like going through phases. I went through a phase where I was reading a book a day. Okay, that's like 5-6 hours of personal development every day. Okay, because I needed that. Look at your life and say, what do I need now? How many hours do I need to put in now? And you can change that every week, every month. Don't say, I am going to spend 5 hours a day on personal development. You don't need that necessarily at this stage, unless you're completely depressed and off the rails. And then you say, I'm going to do personal development 5 hours a day, which is where I was in my early 20s. You don't need that. What you do need is about half an hour a day max. And find a way. This is very important, Harry. Some people, when they're either reading a book or when they're listening to a book, they get bored. Okay. Find a book that interests you and you can learn the same thing. Many things you can learn in fables, which is basically story formats. Okay. Story formats are easy to listen and you don't get as bored. So try to focus to get kind of those books, if I may say so, or find other ways to learn it. If one way is boring, find other ways. Find other ways, but do limit. It's almost like when you reflect back and say, this week, maybe I want to spend only 2 hours a week. But next week, I'll go maybe spend 5 hours a week. Okay. Or 10 hours a week, whatever that may be, whatever that applies to you. And also with personal development, remember, or professional, it's a combination of personal and professional development. You want to see what you need now. Don't go and learn something that you don't need now. Does that make sense? I did that again in my 20s, where I literally went and learned everything that I could rather than what I needed in that moment. Nowadays, I would pick up a book which I need now, and then when I don't have anything else, I just then go and pick up whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But plan your week and say, this week I want to invest 2 hours or 10 hours or whatever that may be, and find something that interests you. Okay. Because if you just pick up something that's boring, it doesn't quite work. Okay. For me, I'll tell you what works is Audible. And if I'm on a boring book, sometimes I leave it. I do leave books. I just leave it and say, I'm not going to listen to it. It's boring. What can I do? If the guy has written a boring book, what can I do? Okay. Right. It's his mistake. I'm just joking.
No. It's true. It's true. I'm doing this book and I'm struggling because it's too emotional and I'm like, I can't deal with it.
Okay. I don't know. Emotional is a good thing, but anyway. So does that answer your question, buddy?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I spoke to you about it before, how some of the audiobooks as well, I just can't listen to. They sound like computers talking to you.
look for books which have pictures and stuff like that. I don't know what interests you, right?
Stories. I like stories.
You like stories, so look for fables, right?
Yeah.
In books that are called fables.
Yeah.
Okay. We have
I
Lavanya.
love how Jack is saying look for books that have pictures. It's like Harry, little kid who loves pictures for coloring and stuff.
But
Keep
you
him
know,
engaged.
Cheers, Muzzy.
Muzzy is funny. We are all kids. We still are all kids. Give me a book, and if it doesn't have pictures, I get bored. I'm still a little kid like that. Okay, we have Lavanya next in the list. Any questions, Lavanya?
No, Jack. To me.
Muzzy Buddy, any questions?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Ami, any questions?
No, I'm fine.
Sejal, any questions?
No, I'm good, thanks, Jack.
Sapphire, any questions?
No, not for me, thank you.
Any questions? I don't know if you can hear us. Okay, so I guess that is the session. I'll share with you something after the recording. But thank you for watching. Have an absolutely amazing day.